All right, Rock, welcome, buddy. Thanks for popping in, bud. I've got a very funny comedian. Anyone that's here, welcome. Our guest is in the house. Let's send out an invite to broadcast, share with followers, select all. Inviting 1,000 people if dude shows up. My pleasure, man. Always fun. Thank you, Rock. I love you, buddy. Let me in. Yay! We're just gonna let some people filter in. Hey, Tiffany. Oh my God, is that Tiffany Taylor? It is. What's up, boy? All right. Please, guys, make sure you share it so that we get the people in here. I have a very, very funny guest. Anna Beros, Kiwi-born, Melbourne raised. I'm probably going to say Melbourne raised. And but lives in Berlin. So welcome. Well, there might be applause. There might be loud. All right, folks, let's get this started going. Oh, what's going on with my stream? Facebook Live. Let's see if we can go live. If not, no worries. We have to reconnect. All right. Yes. Aplausos. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Paul Vato Presents, where my guest today is Anna Beros, who is visiting all the way from Berlin, Germany. But I believe she's German. I don't know. We're going to get to the bottom of this. I don't know what's going on. She lists all these different places of where she lives, where she's lived. So I'm so confused. But Anna, thank you so much for joining me. And I'm sorry, folks, if it looks a little dark. It's 6 a.m. in the morning in Las Vegas. So, but you know what? It's whatever time my guests want to come on. So, Anna, thank you so much for being a guest today.
It's lovely to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. And it's a very comfortable 3 p.m. in Berlin. So,
how dare you? Thank you for throwing me that. Very comfortable 3 p.m. I'm sure it is. You've already had a whole day of doing comedy, I'm guessing. I'm going to be like my mom. It's 3 p.m. there, but what day is it? Is it today there? Is it?
I don't know if it's today. I don't know. I think it's actually yesterday for you. Is that possible?
I think so. I don't know. I'm so confused, especially when I deal with people that are from Australia, where they're like, "Oh no, it's tomorrow." Like, I don't know, tomorrow night or something.
Yeah. Right. Yes. No. I haven't. I've a whole day of comedy, which means I slept in till 10. And actually, I did an art project this morning, and now I'm very happy to be chatting with you.
Oh, wonderful! 10. It sounds wow. You must be a real go-getter, because I think most comedians tend to sleep until noon or 1.
Yeah. I was pretty impressed with myself this morning. Actually, it was because I had a visitor coming over at 10. I'll be honest. Otherwise, I would have slept till 12. But my comedy show didn't go too late last night, so it wasn't that bad. But yes.
Are you doing comedy almost every night, or what's the scene like? Because, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but you are in Berlin?
Yes, I'm in Berlin. I'm not German, if anyone can hear by my accent. Although, it can be confusing, but no. I'm in Germany, Berlin, and I'm originally from New Zealand, but I grew up in Australia. And in Berlin, the main reason why I live here, I moved here because it's an amazing cultural, energetic, it's a really different place in the world. But also I've stayed here because it's the biggest English language stand-up scene in continental Europe. So outside of London, this is where you can play 3 shows a night, often, and every night. So it's happening.
Wonderful. That is wonderful. I guess maybe let's start at the beginning. How old were you then when you moved to Australia from New Zealand?
I was a little one. I was 3. I was a little 3-year-old, and so I guess I kept the New Zealand accent when I was growing up because my parents had thick Kiwi accents, and so I did get a bit bullied by the Aussie kids because we do pronounce things a little differently. It's the whole like number six sounds like sex, and so that's a nice little point for bullying. And then from the age of 3 till 29, I was in Melbourne, in Australia,
Last
and
year. Last year.
yeah. What was
Wow.
that?
Last year. So up until last year when you were 29.
Exactly. Oh, like a few months ago, actually. What do you mean? I'm not over 30. Yeah, exactly. No, that was almost 7 years ago. So yeah, so I've been in Berlin now for almost 7 years, which shows you how much I like it.
That's wonderful. So have you picked up the language? Do you speak German? Are you able to? Okay.
Yeah, I do comedy in German too, which is a lot of fun. Says
We have a real Eddie Izzard over here.
I also do comedy in Italian when I can
Gee.
as well. That's more my comfortable second language, and then just because I studied Italian and Japanese at uni, which is obviously why I do comedy, because that doesn't make sense. And then moving to Germany. So yeah, I do comedy in Italian, in German. There's more of a scene in Germany, obviously, for German comedy, and yeah, and so I guess yeah, it's fun to do. You learn. Do you do it in Spanish? Do you do any performances in Spanish?
I find myself being able to be funny in Spanish and communicate in Spanish, but I've barely done stand up. I'm more of an improviser, sketch
Mhm.
and improv, and stand up I've only done a handful of times. So I think I'd better get it down first in English before I try in Spanish. But I'm very motivated by somebody like whom I interviewed on Paul Vato Presents, Richard Villa, who does have command of the Spanish language. Granted, I think he was born in Mexico, raised in the U.S., and his parents, always spoke Spanish to him. So, I
Mhm.
mean, he's got that going for him. But he's just a brilliant stand-up comedian in both English and Spanish. So it's something that I'm striving for, and as well as in Italiano. Io sono Paolo.
Italiano.
See?
See? Cool.
How do you say guest in Italian?
Ospita.
Okay, that's what I
Also,
thought. So kind of like Spanish,
yeah.
ospita. So io sono Paolo, benvenuto a Paul Vado Presents. Oggi il mio ospita sono Anna Beros di Berlin. No, I don't know.
Grazie mille, grazie.
Benvenuta,
Um,
benvenuta.
it's yeah. I find the doing comedy in a different language, it expands the jokes. You find new places to go, and there's different spaces for like new takes and new perspectives and like new wordplay. And I think the more languages you can perform in, the richer your performances and writing can get.
Are you performing almost your same routine, but finding those little nuances and little cultural differences that elevate then the comedy in that particular language?
Exactly. Not a lot. Like most of my stand up isn't wordplay based, so it's very much just like situational, like ideas, and so it's very easy to translate it. And but each time you translate it into a different language, you find new directions to take it, and new little funny quips and tags, and so it's pretty much a straight translation, and then it evolves within the new language context.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's beautiful. So you can do it
Yeah.
in German, Italian, uh, normal English, and Australian and New Zealand.
Yeah, I love how when you first started talking to me today, you're like, "Wow, you sound normal. I can't hear your Australian accent. You speak normal English."
I figured, why not start with a dig, right?
Great, good job,
I'm
good
like,
job.
let's see how much Anna can put up with. No, that's wonderful. Because like I'm the normal. Like, yeah, again, I'm from Chicago, where we don't got an accent, so
Yeah.
we're blessed that way.
So American. I love it. I love
So
it.
American, so American, yeah, because we speak American, damn it, and
Hmm.
yeah, no, it's wonderful, and I love what, and Rocksteady, who's in the audience, can attest to this. I love the slangs that you Aussies have, and I would imagine the same thing in New Zealand and the people like I mean vulgar. Applause for yourselves. You're also a very cool people, I see. But things like "chuck it up her," I'd never heard that expression for sex.
Chucker upper.
Chuck it up her, yeah, throw it up her, chuck it up her. Um,
Okay.
so
We,
you, what were some of and you said six or sex, which is funny. When I first started dating now my ex-wife, but she had almost this Valley Girl speak where sometimes she wanted a pen, and I didn't know if she wanted a pin or a pen. And then at what time we're going? We're going at sex. I'm like, wait, we're
sex.
gonna have sex? Like, what's going on? So, what are some other words that you would think between the Aussie and the Kiwi language that are similar, but maybe a little pronounced a little differently?
Like I guess the ones that I always go to, there's a like a bin, like a bin, and then they call it a bun. So the I becomes like a U. So like chuck it in the bun is like throw it in the rubbish bin.
Throw it in the bin. And we, of course, like to make it longer, like throw it in the garbage can.
Yeah, throw it in the trash. Like
Throw it
trash
in
is
the
not
trash.
something we use that in Oz, New Zealand. It's like in the rubbish. It's the rubbish bin, and the kids like I tell the kids like kids is very Australian, and the cuds is Kiwi. So yeah, get the cuds in from outside.
And throw
Bring
it
in
in
the
the bin.
cuds. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So it can be pretty thick, the accents. So I've definitely, I was teaching English for a long time in Australia as well as in Germany. And so I think my accent, I've just made it as easy to understand as possible. And it also helps with comedy because, you don't want someone to not understand your punchline. So I'm just like, let's. And so a lot of people are like, you sound American. I'm like, I sound understandable. So
You see, you sound normal. I wasn't wrong.
exactly.
How did you get into stand up, or when did you get into stand up? I'm not going to ask you like, oh, make me laugh because you're already doing that. Done deal. But how did you get into stand up, and were you raised in the arts, things like that?
So I moved to Berlin to find myself, but to actually make music. That was my thing. I was writing poetry and songs, and that was the goal. And then I got here, and my usual social group of musicians um, ended up being comedians because there's a much smaller like actual music scene here. It's more electronic production, hanging out with comedians, going to comedy shows, becoming friends with them, and eventually they were like, "You should. Why don't you?" And I was like, "Oh no!" And I never thought I was, we could make people laugh. I actually also in Australia, with that Italian Japanese background, I wrote a thesis in Italian on Italian comedies. So I've always been kind of focused on comedy somehow, but I didn't think I could be the creator of it. And anyway, I eventually kind of promised my friend, I was like, okay, I'll do my first set. I started with like a spoken word night, and then people were like, oh, your banter in between your poetry was really good. I was like, okay. And then I did my first set, and before I did it, I read John Roy has like a Tumblr, how to start stand up, and yeah, and I took it seriously. And after my first set, I was like, I'm doing this at least 3 nights a week. And then that within 6 months, I was doing it pretty much every night. And then I started producing shows after a year. Started my brand Döner Comedy, so it's comedy in a doner shop, like a kebab shop, and Glory Hole Comedy. And so once I started producing, then within then I started Adults Only Comedy. And Adults Only Comedy is I realized I needed to communicate to the potential audience that my comedy usually gets dark and has pretty strong sexual currents, and it's adult material. So I started that brand up and produced through that, and that really attracts the right audience. And that started in 2019, and so now I run quite a few shows. I run probably like, I don't know, maybe 8 shows, not maybe 10 shows a month. I'm running. No, more than that. What am I talking about? More like 15 shows a month I run here, and then I've got my podcast as well by the same name, so Adults Only Comedy Berlin, where I talk to a different comedian every week about adults only stuff, and that's where I've got to now. So that's living, and I'm full-time stand-up comedy now. So I'm living off it, and that's what a journey.
Amazing. Yeah, round of applause, everyone. That is so wonderful that you're able to make a living from doing what you love. Wow.
Yes, great. Very grateful.
Wonderful, wonderful. So tell me a little bit more about Glory Hole Comedy. That's, I'm guessing, the adult, and is it done in a gay bar? What's going on with from what I understand, I don't know what a glory hole is. What am I saying? Sorry.
Bollocks. So the concept is, it's usually it's in a basement, somewhere dark and dingy, and I like the idea of it being, a glorious space with comedy from glorious holes. And essentially, it's a showcase where I get local comedians. Usually, I was really hardcore about it being local comedians when I started it, because there were bigger clubs that would always prefer into like people not from Berlin. And I was like, but these local legends need support. So I started this show as being like, I want to pay my heroes here and really support the Berlin scene. But I've now gone, now because Europe, I've been doing comedy long enough, but also post-pandemic, during the pandemic, I think we all got closer as a community, comedians. So we started connecting more across. So there was lots of online stuff. Like I did this international roast battle, and so I met comedians from all over and destroyed them. But also I think we created more of a community online, and that's now having a real life impact. So as soon as we found out that Barcelona, for example, at the start of 2021, they were opening bars, a bunch of my friends and I went there, and so we were able to perform for the first time in 6 months to live audiences, and we met. And at that little, what was happening was all these other comedians that were based in different parts, so Irish, English, people from the States. I met some like Tama Katan and Sid Singh. They're from the States. They're great comedians. But so there's become this more European set of comedians, and so I bring that up because why do I bring that up?
The pandemic, which is exactly what I was going to ask you about, was how the pandemic kind of affected you guys, and you were saying that it was that it kind of brought the community closer together. So thank you for speaking on that topic.
Definitely, it brought us closer together. It also meant that a lot of the old dogs in local scenes retired. They go like, oh yeah, well this hasn't really been making me money, and they kind of got more into whatever side hustle they had, and so a lot of people stopped comedy, a lot of new people came in, and I think across Europe we got tighter together. And that's right, I was talking about Glory Hole, and as a result, I now have Glory Hole more as it's a show to showcase two great comedians alongside me, and they're usually just from Europe, or they could be touring or local, and and there's a really great building community here, and we're touring more, and we're able sharing venues. So the geographical space of Europe is tiny compared to say the US, but the populations, the density, it's really interesting. So there's a lot of touring capacity here as well.
That is wonderful. And most of your shows are either hosted or are in English, or are you welcoming, in Berlin, are you welcoming German comedians, or is that usually, hey, it's an English night, let's all do it in English?
We don't let any Germans into the venues. Actually, no, I'm joking. We with the pure, like, we stick with one language. Otherwise it's too confusing and it excludes people. Not everyone has the same cross coverage of English and German. Mm-hmm. So no, we do just English shows or just German shows, and I don't host any German shows or Italian shows. I just sort of pop in and do spots for those, or yeah. But yeah, everything that I run is just in English.
Wonderful. It's amazing to hear that there is this amazing. Because the people that speak English have had it so hard their whole life. No, but it's really nice to see that there is this, and I think it's more about stand up, because I don't know how stand up has been perceived or been done in Europe, and I'm sure it's ahead of, say, like Asia, but I don't think it's the way it was in the United States. So when do you think the stand up scene really started kicking off in Europe, if you will?
The scene here started around like 15 years ago in Berlin. And that's the same, and I think same around Amsterdam. So Amsterdam's always had the connection with second city.
In Chicago. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's a Boom Chicago in Amsterdam, which is very nice to perform at. But so around 15 years ago is when it started here. But I regularly, I did a show last night at a university campus at this amazing, grand hall, and the campus student social association put it together. They got 90 people in. It was amazing. I didn't have to do any marketing. 90 people, and I'd say around 60 people there had never been to an English stand-up comedy show or any comedy show in any language. And every show that I run, it's one of the first questions I ask the audience is this anyone's first comedy show? And there's always, usually a minimum of a 20% margin of the audience has never been to a show before.
How? Wow.
Exactly, yeah. Which is so exciting, because it means every show we're expanding the reach and bringing people into this culture, but because it hasn't been part of the arts, hasn't been part of the social culture here. Germany has a history of cabaret, which is this political. It's not burlesque, but it's political commentary, very long, usually a bit depressing. I think it's why people have a stereotype of Germans not being funny, because if you've seen cabaret, it's oof. But no disrespect to people in that field, and it's a great art form. It's just not stand-up comedy, right? So it just hasn't been here, and it's the same all over mainland Europe. There's just the French scene is quite big as well, but it's still it just hasn't been part of the culture here. So I'd say it's 20 the last 20 years it's been growing, but it's still at a really infant stage. So.
That's wonderful. It's amazing. And I see that also even in Mexico, where and maybe it's the same, maybe it's not, where their style of comedy, like you said, Germans was cabaret, whereas in Mexico it was very physical, making fun of physical things and harassing women, for lack of a better, and that was funny, which that I don't mind. I wish that would come back a little bit more. I'm kidding. But now it's becoming standing, and doing American style stand-up comedy to a Latino, to a Mexican crowd in Mexico, or in Latin America, I should say, but kind of doing the same way that we do stand-up here in the States. So I'm glad to see that the art form really is growing throughout the world.
Yeah. And the different cultures have different styles, the stand-up scene in Italy, it's interesting what different languages do and cultures do to the style, because you can sort of, with the States, there's a real US style of stand-up, and same with the UK. There's these really different styles. And then within all of the different European cultures, you see these other, different ways and these different kind of, how would you say, flavors of humor and how they present it. And it's, it's nourishing and exciting. And that they often, and all with all of this sort of mix in Europe, we're getting these different ways of doing stand up coming into English comedy because there's this like melting pot of all the different cultures that are doing it. So it's I think it's really doing something very exciting.
I love it. I love it. And I'm glad that you're kind of right there, right in the forefront of this, and bringing American style or English comedy, stand up comedy to Europe. How's your Japanese then? Would you be able to do stand up in Japanese?
I would need to study a little bit to get back into it. The last time I really spoke a lot of Japanese was like a couple of years ago. I went on a date with a guy, and I thought he was like wanting to practice his English or his German. It turns out like both of them were so poor that I basically spoke Japanese with him the whole time, and I was like, oh, I can do this. I can
It
carry
sounds
this.
like you wanted to practice something else.
Yeah, maybe, maybe. But like, yeah, no, I would have had to do all the work, just like the conversation, I think.
I,
So,
that I don't mind. Yeah, people are fine. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I'm a real pillow princess, just so you know. Yeah, I just like to lay there.
Yeah, I think this guy would have been if his language skills were anything like his bedroom skills, he was also a big time pillow princess. But
Big time, big time.
nah, I was
Um,
exhausted by the end just from the talking. But the dream is to. So I've got a friend. She's a Romanian comedian. She lived in Japan for 12 years, and then I've got another friend. This Italian comedian, this very very famous Italian comedian, Stefano Rapone. He also speaks Japanese. So the goal would be to be like three foreigners going in and doing like some crazy Japanese stand up in Japan. But I imagine if I did Japanese stand up, like it would be more of like a theater arts, like throwing paint and screaming words, and it would be like more of a, you know, crazy,
well,
crazy.
back in the day, when you were maybe a baby, back in the 1900s,
Mhm.
and I was part of a Latino improv group. Well, we're an improv group that happened to be Latino, and we were part of the Chicago Improv Festival, and there was an improv group from Japan who did improv without being able to even speak English. So I think anything is possible, like that. And they call themselves this the Yellow Man Group, and they were brilliant.
It's hilarious.
It was hilarious. It's still hilarious. I can't admit it though. I just did, and but it just go. I mean, yes. So I can totally see you doing this performance piece with Japanese thrown in there, and I'm sure it would work wonderfully.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be very fun. And so you still do improv? You do improv? That's your like? Do you work doing improv or?
I've recently pivoted and gotten back into acting. I was in LA for about 10 years doing comedy, mostly, I will sketch and improv, but doing TV shows. So I was too busy really to do improv because I studied improv in Chicago at the Second City and Improv Olympic and
Mhm.
all those places, and then moved to LA where I did shows here that were well known, like Mad TV and Cedric the Entertainer Presents and the Sarah Silverman Show.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
I was on a soap opera for a couple months, The Bold and the Beautiful. Probably because I'm both. I don't know.
I remember watching that as a kid. Yeah, that's
So
great.
maybe you saw me on there. And then I had a great business opportunity. So at the bottom of the housing market, moved to Vegas, bought a house for next to nothing, and moved to Vegas and started my cigar company. So that's where I was at, for 10 years until COVID and a divorce. Went through a few things. So I pivoted and got back into acting. So no, but I'd like to. If when I move back to LA, that's definitely there. But I'm also, auditioning for commercials and TV shows and films,
Mhm,
and I've gotten, a few things here and there. But it's
mhm,
it's tough when you walk away for 10 years and then to come back into it. But my first love is, of course, improv comedy, sketch comedy, improv comedy. But
mhm.
I love stand up and the art form, and it's something I've been wanting to do for 20, 25 years, and just haven't done it. So people like you inspire me. That you talked about just going out there and doing it, and look at you, and you're succeeding at it. So thank you for being an inspiration.
Aw, thanks for saying that. That's very sweet. Yeah, just do it. Just do it. That's what I say to everybody. I'm like, just do it. You want to start a show? Just do it. Like, let's expand the pie. Let's all have fun.
I love your Jersey accent. Just do it. Just
Just
do
do
it.
it.
Come on.
I have no idea what that accent is. I've been hanging out with someone from Philadelphia, so that's probably going to start penetrating.
I heard idea earlier, so but I'm sure that's also a British
Yeah.
thing. Or
I also say raw. Raw. People get confused with. I run a show called Raw Dog because that's my vibe. Okay, and yeah, people were saying I say raw weirdly. Raw Dog.
raw. And I think what we say raw. I mean, for Chicago, you're raw dog. Raw, but raw. I guess raw. But how do you say it? Raw.
Raw.
Yeah, that's very for us. That'd be like Boston or Philly. Maybe this will be the perfect time to take just a quick little break so I can thank one of our sponsors, which is my book, The Kama Sucia, which is also that's Spanish for the filthy bed. It is a parody of the Kama Sutra where I didn't put raw dog in here, but I'm for volume 2 for the update. I'm definitely going to throw raw dog in there. I guess we should explain that to some people. I don't know if there's. I'll bet everyone knows what raw dogging is. But yeah, if you go to vato.tv, it'll take you right over to Amazon, where my book has just hit the market. Most of all, I need a 5-star ratings. You can do a rating, you can do a review, whatever you would like, but that would be very helpful to me. You can also find me at paulvato.com, and everything is right there. But I would also like, of course, people to know where they can find you, Anna Beros. Where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram as the little trailing thing on this app is showing, AF Beros. My podcast is everywhere, and that's Adults Only Comedy Berlin. So yep. Everywhere you can find Adults Only Comedy Berlin. I'm also, those are the 2 best places. And then there's also a link tree, again, AF Beros, where everything's kind of put together. But yeah.
That is wonderful. I really, really appreciate you taking time to share some of your story with us, and I hope that that we get to work together someday. I mean, I really want to start doing my traveling show, so maybe I'll find myself out there. Or if you ever make it stateside, which have you ever been to the U.S.? Have you visited the U.S. before?
I have. I back in 2011, I was there I did like 10 days in New York, which blew my mind. And then there was also, I did some days in LA and San Fran, and I really enjoyed being in the US. So the plan is to come back. The plan is to get up on stage in New York a bit, but be where the gods, the center of excellence, and also LA. So I will be, this person that I'm hanging out with from Philly, maybe I will be coming over sooner than I expected, actually. So, I will hit you up when I'm over.
Yeah, I would love to show you around, especially Vegas, Chicago, or LA. Those would be my main.
Chicago is a place I really want to get. Like, I dream of Chicago,
It's an amazing city. The people are great. The food, of course, is fantastic. Are you vegetarian or vegan or?
Look, like I am vegetarian and try to be vegan, but like when I'm traveling, I'll try everything. Yeah.
I was vegan for a while, and then my ex-wife and we went to Paris, so that lasted for another 6 hours, and then we're like, "That's butter, right?" And it's delicious.
Yeah, I was vegan until I had a French boyfriend, and then it was like foie gras, butter, crêpe. I was like, yeah, let's just get fat.
Wet. I love it. I love it. What's next for you? What do you have going on? Anything in the besides continuing to do stand up, or is there other things that you're working on?
Yeah, there are some things that I want to get back into working on, but I'm actually starting a role as a YouTube host for for content by an automotive company, and I'm going to be the host for a show called MAN Quick Stop. And the first shoot's actually in Italy in 2 weeks. So I'm going to be hanging out with men who work with cars and footballers, actually.
Molto bene.
So bad. So, yeah. Speaking of that,
Wow.
but yes, that's happening. So I'll be doing that once a month. I'll also be doing the comedy festivals in Australia. I'm just finishing my applications to be doing the Melbourne International Comedy Festival and probably the Adelaide Fringe as well. And yeah, and then I think I'll also be trying to get over to New York, Chicago within the next sort of 6 months.
Wow, that's okay. Before you know it, you'll be here. So wonderful. Yeah, I would love to show you around or, introduce you to people. If you have any ideas for shows, we should definitely work on something, for whether it's for television or TV shows or movie scripts or anything like that, because you're so funny and so talented.
Thanks. Well, I'm working on it. Working on it. Yeah, writing some stuff is. I was working on this thing that I won't give too much details on, but I think I need to get back into it because it's pretty original and exciting. So yeah, writing is definitely. I wrote for Comedy Central last year, and I really enjoy writing, writing sketches and writing dialogues and things. So I'm. Yeah, and writing, yeah, the whole thing. So yeah, that sounds great. I'll
Wonderful.
yeah.
Do you have a improv background? Did you get a chance to study some improv, or what kind of history? Because you were familiar with Boom Chicago in Amsterdam.
I'm familiar with that because of yeah, like performing at Boom Chicago and knowing the history there and seeing what connections there are between Europe and the States when it comes to comedy. But I don't have a background in improv at all. At high school, I did do theater studies, and I learned like we were taught quite well like basics of improv and like just improvisation generally as well as theater stuff. So I've got the smallest background in theater and theatrics, but no, yeah. Otherwise, it's all just working in bars and teaching English and being a party person, and that's where it comes from. But no background in improv, but respect for it, and I think yeah,
Wonderful. Well, I
it
have
could be good to study it, but yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Well, it can easily be taught, especially to someone who's naturally funny and gets it. So that is wonderful. Just as I have such massive respect for the people that do stand up and go up there and do it and put everything out, bear everything right in front of people. So that's amazing. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you have siblings? And what does your family think of what you're doing? And were they supportive when you first started doing stand up?
Interesting question. I have a brother and then an older brother and then two younger step brothers and a younger step sister, and it's funny you bring this up because my family's very supportive of like my mom and my stepdad and my dad, very supportive of my stand up and my dad's wife. But recently with my podcast, there's been a few truths that have come out and not so comfortable for people, and it's created a bit of a chasm in my family. So yeah, stuff with my brother is a little bit unresolved at the moment because my dad is unhappy, and so it's like there's been this little thing happening. So I'm dealing with that currently, but otherwise, generally they're very supportive. But yeah, the thing is, if you're in any kind of love relationship with a comedian, you're gonna be exposed somehow. It's just part of it. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's very noble and honorable that you live your life, like you mentioned, maybe in the green room, that you try to live your life, an open book. And it's not. And I know it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, I know that I was not able to do that for a long time because when you're in business for yourself, you don't want people to find certain things out. Going to Tijuana with Bobby Lee, things like that, and he's talking about it, and you're like, I can't talk about it. But now that I've kind of stepped away more from the business world, and now, or I think as I've gotten older too, it's like you know what, I don't care. This is part of my journey and growing up. So I hope
yeah,
that things get resolved with you and your
yeah,
family.
and it's there's always a matter, like there's always an element of ethics in it, of course, and you need to be really conscious, and you can do the wrong thing sometimes. It's not always, you can't always just use, oh, it's my story as an excuse, but but still, like if you're in the close, close inner circle, then it is your story. And if the intentions are about sharing, shame or pain, then it's not, it's not about exposing someone. It's about giving other people the opportunity to hear, and then that being an opportunity for healing for many people as well as yourself. So, it can be ethical.
Yeah. Keep telling yourself that. Wonderful. I hope.
I would never expose someone else's story if it didn't have a direct connection to mine.
I love it. I love it. That's why I'm happy that it's only really my mom and my brother. And my mom's too old, and my brother, they don't support my podcasting, because sometimes I'll say something, I'm like, it's all right, they're not listening anyways. But if it relates to somebody else and maybe helps somebody else, then why not? I think it's our duty, I think, as storytellers and comedians and satirists to share that on stage and be vulnerable. So
exactly. Yeah, I think it's really important.
Most importantly, I think, and it's all led to this, what is your favorite sex club in Berlin?
It's all led to this. I love it. Favorite sex club. So I'm not a massive fan of the conventional sex clubs here, because they're filthy and anyone can just like get it. Like, not anyone, but like, I'm not. Okay, so I recently went to one. It's actually, sadly, it's a London-based production that's moved, and they're starting to do parties here. And it's called Club Verboten, which if you pronounce it with an American accent, it would be like Club Verboten.
Verboten.
Yeah. Verboten, yeah. Club Verboten. And what I like about it is they've got really, I'm going to need to plug in my phone. They've got really great rules. So back to ethics, really. So the best rule, I don't know how cool everyone is with me talking this kind of stuff, but the best rule is like no solo wankers. So you can't just be in there enjoying yourself by yourself.
I'm guessing that rule only applies to men.
I would like to challenge it, I guess.
I think you should. And by the way, I was just throwing this ball out there to see what would happen. So I was like, oh, it's almost time to wrap this up. Now I'm like, you know what? We can go on for another 3 hours. So yeah, let's.
Yeah, I can talk about sex clubs for quite a while. but yeah, solo wanking over here. You're out.
Oh, sorry, I meant.
And here I am furiously. No, I haven't challenged the rule, but yeah, it's just a little bit more. It was ethical and it was well catered to. There was like sanitizer and condoms everywhere, and I thought that was good. And no solo wanking, so it's not creepy. So yeah, check out Club Verboten if you ever come to or go to London as well. But yeah, all the other ones are kind of like usually like kind of classic gay clubs, or just like kink that it's not that nice. It's not that nice for the average person, really. So gay clubs are fun, though. I enjoy going into a dark room and, just hearing all of the noises.
In gay clubs? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Well, at least in the U.S., this is what I know about gay clubs. And is that you will get a strong drink there. I'm a real cock tease, though, by the way. So, yeah, I'll let you buy this. But they do, at least I would imagine it's the same all over the world. Obviously not in countries where it's prohibited, but the drinks are very strong, always at gay clubs, which now is not a problem because I live in Vegas. You befriend bartenders. That's why I can never pay for my own drinks, because then there's no way I could be an alcoholic if I had to pay for my own, if I had to pay for drinks. So,
yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. That's the issue with being in comedy, right? It's just like constantly having access to it. But yeah, the last time I was at a gay club, no, at a sex club, yeah, the guy made a vodka soda, a skinny bitch, and he pours the vodka in, and then he pours the soda. The soda runs out, so he just puts that down and gets the vodka and tops it up just with the vodka. And I was like, This is the best place ever.
Yeah. Good. Run out of soda. Who cares? Top it off with vodka.
Insane. I was like, this is, yeah, really good, really good.
I love it.
I'm just gonna grab my phone charger. Do you mind waiting 1 second? I think I
No,
just
I
don't
want
want
to just thank the audience for being here. Take your time, grab some water.
to. Okay,
This is
great.
a great time to take a break, and we're probably almost done. It depends how much time you have. But folks, thank you guys so much for everyone that's here. Rock and Tiffany and Small Town and who else is here? Everyone that's here and anyone that's listening also on either Facebook or Twitch or YouTube. Thank you guys so much for supporting Paul Vato Presents. If you can, again, please head on over to my Amazon page and at least give us a 5-star rating on the Kama Sutra, or pick up a copy. It's only $2.99 on Kindle, maybe $8.99 paperback, and it's a paper hard cover. Emphasis on the hard is $18.99. But let me know if you buy one. I'll reimburse you. Um, I'm just looking for reviews and things like that. So, folks, you can always find me at paulvato.com. And if you want to connect, which you should want to connect with Anna, just go over to instagram.com/AFBarrows, as fuck Barrows. And that is on Instagram.
What is happening here?
I don't know because it started cutting out, but
Doing some crazy stuff here. What's
okay, I
happening?
can hear you now.
You can hear me? Okay. This is crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Wait, let me.
What you're doing? And I can always cut this out also when I get around to editing.
I'm not sure what's
podcast.
happening here. Hold on 1 second.
I can hear you. You look great.
Okay, now we're good. It was because I plugged it in. Hold on 1 second. Let me put you up here. There we go. Okay, we're back.
And we're back.
Excellent.
Oh, and if you want to start thinking about this, usually when I wrap things up, I like to ask, a couple things. Obviously, I'm so lazy that I don't even want to come up with a title for this show. But if you could come up with a title, maybe start thinking about that, what this episode would be a good title for this episode. And then also I like to ask, your final thoughts, if you have any final thoughts, and again, anything that you're promoting. But any final thoughts for your heart message, if you will, for people. But and that's when we wrap it up. And I don't know how much time you have. I should have asked you this before, but it's only 4 p.m. where you're at.
Yeah, I'm okay for time. We're all good. I'm trying to think a name for the episode. I feel like the Club Verboten is pretty funny.
I was going to say, what's your second favorite sex club? I think Club Verboten. Does that mean like forbidden? Is that what German? Okay.
Exactly.
I do speak German, apparently.
You do. You're fluent. Get up on stage. Do it.
I will. I'm gonna I'll definitely pull an Eddie Izzard and do that. I've watched enough History Channel documentaries.
Oh my God.
Who? So I think my German's pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Schneller. That's usually the key one.
Achtung, baby.
Achtung, baby. Ah, yes. U2 fan as well. Club Verboten. Second favorite sex club.
I was kidding, but let's hang on. Let me pull my pants down again.
No, I think that's my favorite. Let's say that's my favorite. There was another one, but I don't know the name of it, and it was in Australia actually. So, yeah.
We'll have to
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that. We don't want your family members accidentally tuning in, I guess,
Oh, look, they know all about that. It's just if I talk about when I saw them there, that would be the issue.
That would be awkward. Well, it was, my parents asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I said, I want to watch. So they let me.
Ha 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 ha. Ew.
And you're like, maybe you should not do stand-up. So,
It's a pretty good joke. That's a really good joke. I get up there, do it. It's the visuals are perfect, really. And that's what you would have said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So a title for the show, verboten, something,
Club
you
Verboten.
know,
What else did we talk about? We talked about European. Yeah, the European stuff is pretty strong. Stand up. What else?
yeah, the proliferation of stand up throughout Europe and Anna's
Yeah.
favorite sex club, Club Verboten,
Yeah. Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Club Verboten and stand up. Or I love how that's going to make it into this. Club Verboten sounds pretty good, actually, though. I think, can we bring something in with like, yeah, with comedy in there? Uh,
It's the clickbait. Like, yeah, all we did was talk about sex clubs. People are like, yes. They're like, that
yeah,
was,
right. Right. That should
yeah,
work. Like,
sure.
best sex club in European stand up.
Where are all the European stand-ups going to the sex clubs? What's their favorite sex club?
Yeah.
I actually went, and I don't know if this is a sex club because we weren't involved, but I guess, oh, I'm sorry, it was a live sex show. The first
Oh,
time I went to Spain back in the late '90s, back in the 1900s,
Spain.
it was, and it must have been somewhere in Andalusia, probably
Hmm.
Madrid,
Hmm.
and I went with an ex girlfriend and her parents, and I think
What?
I guess, yeah. Well, I'm sorry, we went to Spain with them, but she
Oh,
and I
okay.
went to this live sex club, live sex show, which was very interesting. It was kind of awkward, but it was like watching a porn, but in person, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
So that was my experience. Um,
That's that's nice. Did they do anything outrageous? Because usually with those sex shows, there's usually like one trick that's like that was special.
No, I think just watching two people. Maybe did they have a three-way? I feel like it was one poor bastard and two women. The way a three-way should be, not a
Oh,
double
come on
triangle.
now. MMF is also good, all right?
That's the devil's triangle. No, thank you. But that's the only way that you can give somebody a Eiffel Tower
Exactly.
or the shaky H.
The shaky H. Oh, I like the shaky H. That's a good name. I hadn't heard that before. That's good.
Or the toilet,
Immediately
or the
see it.
toilet, or the toilet paper roll.
Or the toilet paper roll.
When you're taking toilet paper and the roll's kind of just like and,
Your video is paused, so I don't know why your video is not up to
what?
date, but
Oh no, I'm doing all these. I was doing Chinese finger cuffs.
oh, I was missing all the visuals.
Missing all the visuals. My video's still paused. Okay, because mine is moving. Let me bring myself down from stage. You know what? I'm going to make you a producer just in case I get kicked out of the show. I think I can make you a producer on the show. This way you have full control. Make them a producer. Look at you. Okay, I'm still frozen.
Yeah.
Okay, let me remove myself real quick.
Mhm. Okay. And then I'll bring you back up. Is it my internet? Invite to speak. Cool. All right. Boom. Hey, you're back. You're moving.
I'm
Amazing.
moving. Yes,
Great.
what were we? Shaky H, toilet paper roll. Oh, Chinese finger cuffs.
Shiny. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I haven't heard the toilet, but the toilet paper roll. How does
Uh,
that work?
well, let me read it.
Please.
Um, let's see. Oh no, somebody was inviting me to join their. I'm like, I'm doing my own show. I can't join your show. Toilet MQRST toilet.
It's a great name for a book. I love it.
The Kama Sucia
Yeah, it's great.
toilet paper roll. Okay. If anyone's offended by dirty language, please don't listen. When two guys are fucking a woman on her hands and knees, one in the yapper and one in the snapper or the crapper, and the two guys clasp hands and get the gal bouncing between them, like how a toilet paper roll can flutter.
Can flutter.
That's why, yeah, flutter.
I can't. Imagine the fluttering. I'm gonna have to try that soon.
We'll have to try that.
Guys, let's do the toilet paper roll.
Let's do the toilet paper roll. Do you know of any other sex moves that you've? I can see if they're in here. If not, if you have any, I'd love to put them into the next edition of Kama Sutra.
I recently had a threesome, and I'm trying to think if there was anything. I need to make some names for it, I guess.
Yeah. And this was, I'm guessing, a devil's triangle was your threesome.
No, it wasn't actually. I was being a generous. It was a friend's birthday, and so I was like, it was two girls, one guy.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. Tell me more. Yeah, applause. I'm going to set up a while. I'm going to also.
Look, I live to serve. No, I don't. But tell you more. Yeah, no. So I'm trying to think if there were any positions that were like name worthy, but.
Lucky Pierre. He was a Lucky Pierre. HIJK.
Lucky Pierre.
Lucky Pierre. Lucky Pierre, the middle person in a three-way, often erroneously reported as an all-male threesome. It can be any combination of partners, be they male, female, trans-testicle, non-binary whatevers, etc. Lucky Pierre is the term for the man in the middle.
Man in the middle, a Lucky Pierre. Yeah, I was. Well, yeah, I think my male. I felt like we all were Lucky Pierres at some point, so it was balanced.
Who set it? Well, who set it up? Obviously, the guy set it up. Doy. And for the guy,
Yeah.
like, now, but were you seeing one of them or?
Yes. I'm seeing the guy, and this is so funny that I'm talking about this. Hilarious. Yeah, so he set it up because it was his birthday, and I was like, "Oh my God, you've never done this?" And he'd never done it, so I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then we met up with the woman, and we wanted it to be that like we both really wanted to have sex with her, and we did, and it was good. And we met up once, and then we met up again, and it was like, let's do this. And it was through there's a dating app that's not really a dating app; it's more of a sex app here. I don't know if it's in the States. I don't know if it's in Australia. I think it is called Field. Have you heard of Field?
I don't think so. Of course, I was married for a while, so I would let my wife do all that setting because it's ultimately up to the woman.
See, whenever I'm in a relationship, I get him to do it all because I'm too busy.
Oh, wonderful! I love that. For the record, my birthday's coming up November 14th.
So is mine. When's your birthday?
November 14th.
Mine's November 17th.
Scorpio. Now it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, you wrote a book about sex positions, and I've got a podcast called Adults Only Comedy. Perfect.
Wait, are you still seeing this dummy? I mean, are you still seeing this guy?
Yeah.
All right, well, folks, it's about time to wrap this show up. We've definitely come to the end now. Wait, I gotta go. Well, when things don't work out, all of a sudden he pops into frame, like, "Oh, hey, buddy." Well, is he big though? I mean, can he beat me up? Because that's.
Look, is he big? Is a bit of a loaded question. You know what I mean?
Well,
he's huge. No.
Well, sir, my apologies for making you the butt of my joke. Please forgive me, sir. No.
He's a gentle giant. Don't worry.
Oh, wonderful. Well, at least reminds me of when, if he really is a big guy, when Dave Faustino, who played Bud Bundy on Married with Children, because he had done The Groundlings with my ex-wife Sarah, and when they were when the first day that he met me, we were at a restaurant or at a bar, and he followed Sarah into the bathroom, and she's like, what, 5'6", and he's 5'2", 5'3", so he looks up at her apparently, and he goes, "Huh, you like them big fuckers, huh?"
And how tall are you?
I'm 6 foot.
You're 6 foot?
I'm like 6 foot, and I've dropped some weight, like 280, but I was way bigger, and I'm still trying to lose more weight. I started doing yoga, bad hombre yoga. So
Well, yoga's good. Yoga's good. I use bike riding. That's how I ride everywhere. But
I'll bet you do. Uh,
never stops. Hold on, but there was something else I was going. Oh yeah, I remember Clubhouse days. I was very single, and I remember at one point being annoyed that like I couldn't see someone's height on their Clubhouse profile, and I was like, "Oops, wrong type of app, Anna."
right, right. So, how tall is your guy?
Oh, I don't know, tall, like six something, maybe six one, maybe.
Okay. And then how big? I mean, is he muscular or both?
He's like formed, but not like I don't like them like brrr, I don't. Yeah, I like a bit of softness.
Yeah, yeah, because that other one that's disgusting when they're all muscly and
And they're
chiseled.
all
Yeah.
hard. It's like it hurts.
Well,
I
I'm
need
the
a bit of
softest,
padding.
I'm one of the softest guys you've met, so this is going to be perfect. Yeah, November 14th. I can't believe that you're November.
November 14th. Yeah. Yeah, I'll send vibes for a FFM threesome for you.
I think throw in another F. I don't care.
Yeah, FFFFFFFFFM. Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? May I send you a copy or a PDF of my book, or unless you want the book, may I send you
Absolutely.
a copy because I would love a review, and I think it hopefully is up your alley. I mean, it's not too offensive for you.
No, it's totally that's my vibe. Yes, please. I would love to read it.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
wonderful, wonderful.
yeah.
Well, if anyone has any questions, please, of course, drop them in the comments. But I don't think we can go anywhere from here.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, that was very fun. Yeah, kudos on your book. I think that's great. That's very that's the kind of publication I can get behind.
Literally,
Yeah.
or in front of. But if you ever, whenever you decide to do your book, if you need any help as far as getting it on Amazon, it's anyone can do it. But there are a few little tips and tricks. I'd be more than happy to help you out with that, or because I'm sure you have some amazing stories to tell.
Yeah, yeah. The book is something that I have, there's way down the line, I think. But yeah, it's really cool hearing, yeah, that you've done it, and then that's a thing that's very inspiring. You're inspiring me.
Well, thank you, and likewise, I really need to get up there and do. Maybe I'll just go up there and read my book. I'm actually going to interview a gentleman who writes children's books. I think his latest one is My Big Black Hawk, and it's a hawk, HAWK, big black
Yeah, yeah,
hawk.
yeah. I heard that, but
Uh,
that's great. Yeah,
yeah, and they're all just really funny. And I think he just stands up there on stage and reads from them. So maybe this is
interesting.
the Kama Sutra is my stand up bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a name for the show, and then do you have any final messages? Do you have your heart message or something that you'd like to leave us with, and then anything, of course, you'd like to promote or let us know
Yeah.
about?
Heart message, I guess would be, coming from like you would wanting to stand at me, book and writing stuff. Yeah, I guess it's, I just want everyone to do everything that they want to do, and not let any kind of fear or sense of not being enough stop them. So yeah, do everything that you want to do. And if that's like if that's being a what is it, a lucky Pierre, then also make that happen. And then in terms of plugging my stuff, yeah, again, just my Instagram and my podcast, Adults Only Comedy Berlin. That would be great. And if you come to Europe, please check out some English stand up shows. We're really going hard over here. So yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, people are of course applauding, and Rocksteady Anna, I want to give you something for your birthday because I'm a giver like that. So you, you're a big hit on Fireside.
Wow. Just keep on giving.
Keep on giving. Yes.
Thank you. I've got my hands full. I'll do the spoken word ones.
Welcome, hip cats, to Paul Vato Presents, the only spoken word podcast on Fireside.
Oh, you
Welcome.
did the right voice for it. Welcome, all my people, all my hearts.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Peoples, my peoples. Anna, thank you so much for spending time with me. And I can't wait to hopefully collaborate on something. And I wish you the best of luck with your new Italian TV show or web
Oh,
show.
it's actually German, but it's in English. But yeah,
Amazing. And you're shooting in Italy.
yeah. Just happened to. I just need to bust over to Italy for the first shoot. Yeah, it's great.
Well, I'm glad you're here before you're too big and you're like, "No, I can't. I'm too busy." So thank you for taking the time and doing Paul Vato Presents. Anything I can ever do for you, by all means, please reach out. And folks, make sure you just head on over to paulvato.com and follow me across all social media. But I'm on Instagram, Twitter, all of them, I'm sure, as is Anna. And you can find her link tree there also at instagram.com/afberos. And me, just go to paulvato.com and you'll find or Instagram/paulvato. Paul Vato. I don't know, wherever I'm at. So, Anna, thank you so much. Let's all give Anna another round of applause. Thank you so much for being here. And we love you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Real pleasure. Thank you so much, Paul. And I'm really looking forward to future collaborations and yeah